Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we are back with more Daredevil Season 3. We're up to Episode 4. It's called Blindsided, so full spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. We finally get a really good fight in here, and just a really good sequence in general. Another nice one-take looking thing. You know that there's editing in there, but it looks so good. The way that they cut it, it's like seamless almost. But there's a lot to talk about, so let's just get right to it. We're going to talk about Karen first. Okay, so Karen hasn't told anybody about the presidential suite. Like I said, that needs to be told right away. That Fisk owns that place, that clearly if he owns that place and that's where he's at, it means that he manipulated things to get there. That is something that the feds need to know immediately. And she had a whole day to do it, and she hasn't done it. Neither did her boss, who I think also knows. So, and the way that the feds are going about their day, they don't know. So I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that kind of that logic. That is not the way these characters should be behaving. They don't want to see anybody get hurt, so they should automatically talk to the feds, or called the cops, or talked to whoever they need to talk to. But they clearly haven't. And again, oh, well, maybe it'll be next episode, you might say. You know, somebody could comment on here and say but you don't wait a day for that. So that's a choice by the writers to leave that information out. And I guess they're hoping that we won't catch it, or whatever, or we won't care. I care. I think that's dumb. It's a dumb decision on a great show. Writers make these kind of choices all the time. I just don't know why they think it's, I don't know, dramatic storytelling. Like all of a sudden Karen and her boss are just going to be like too stupid to know what they're supposed to do. I mean, they always do Karen's always talking about doing what's right. So what the hell? But she, finds out that Matt's alive. She's, upset, and she should be. She has every right to be upset. And this is where Foggy tells her, that wasn't really Matt. The Matt that I talked to had something missing in him. Whenever that building fell on him, it took something away from him, and that wasn't our Matt. So this leads her to where she's you see her walking down the road. She's pissed off, or down the street. Confronts these guys that were like harassing a couple of people, and then she pulls out her gun. Now this is showing a different side of Karen too. She's starting to be a little reckless. She's frustrated and feeling a little like sick and tired of seeing people like this prey on people, and with no consequences. And so that was a pretty, nice, intimidating scene. I don't think those guys really learned a lesson, but whatever. Then she goes to talk to the lady that has the information about the bank that Fisk is funneling money through. Now, see, she is following up on her story. So, I mean, I don't understand why part of this wasn't also to give the information about the penthouse to somebody else. Instead, she's following her story about the money. I guess she thinks that they have to have evidence that there's something, but they would be able to prove that the place is owned by him by just looking at who owns the property and who's connected to that company. Fisk's lawyers. If they can find that out, then the DA and everybody else would be able to find out. Now they could also say the excuse of, well, maybe we don't know who's in on it. Well, you got to take that chance. So she gets the name of the person that she could talk to that would know about the money. And it's one of Fisk's lawyers. And so it kind of feels like a little empty there at the end. But she's, Karen is Deborah Ann Woll is a really good actress. And she is playing her heart out. She's just given the wrong story. Foggy, on the other hand, I like that, with all the information about Matt that he has, and how he knows he's in danger, and that nobody's doing anything about Fisk. He goes to the policeman's union meeting And got to give it up to him. This is something different for Foggy, standing up for himself and saying that he wants to run as DA to get the other guy out because he's the one who got Fisk out and he wants to get Fisk back in. And he makes a point to make sure that the cops know, like, this is what this guy did to all you, and your current DA is letting him walk away, and this guy's a cop killer. So it's really smart on Foggy's part, and that's a really cool arc that they're giving him right there. I like it. I said last episode that they need to give him something different, and this is about as good as I can ask for. All right, so then we also got Dex Bullseye. It's pretty transparent what's happening here. That the FBI needs a fall guy for the mess up with the ambush. And since he's the last man standing, yes, we know that he took out those guys who surrendered. But when you see all your agents get killed, all your friends, and these guys want to surrender, I'm sure there's a lot of people that were probably just to kill those guys. Now, his own bosses are looking into it. And yes, if Fisk corroborates this, he's going down. Now, Fisk could have played this one of two ways. One would be to confess and say, yeah, I saw him kill these guys, they gave up, and and get this guy fired. And then he could try to manipulate this guy into working for him and get back at the people who fired him for, doing his job and, whatever. But the way he does it is he does corroborate it, and then he still tries to manipulate him onto his side by saying, you're a good person and they want you to take the fall. So either way, he was going to manipulate this guy, and you could see it coming a mile away. Now, that's just a small gripe. That's a little thing. I mean, there's only so many different ways they can do things on shows. So me seeing that coming, I don't know if anybody else saw that coming. It's nothing to get into too much of a twist over. It was really quickly I figured that was going where it was going. But the crux of this, that's the big part to talk about, is Matt going into the prison under Foggy's name to talk to one of their former clients and find out what the Albanians want with Fisk. And this whole sequence is just done so great. From the punch that he takes to having to go to the nurse. And then the nurse, okay, here's another thing that was pretty telegraphed. And again, maybe I'm the only one who caught it. But I knew that nurse was going to be up to something. Before Matt looked at the camera, I could tell you right now that guy was going to try something. I just didn't know it was going to go this far and this out of control. And this is like the best scene so far of the show. So the guy tries to stab him. He gets it in there, and he's only got like a certain amount of time before it knocks him out or whatever. And this is when Fisk calls him, and now Fisk basically knows who he is, that he's Daredevil. And you can tell that now that even if Matt gets out of this situation, this is something that Fisk will be able to use against Matt. But that's down the road a little bit. Instead, he lets Matt go. All this over threatening Vanessa, but it also shows how Wilson Fisk operates. And so yeah, he gets these guys to try to kick his ass, and this is where we get this really good just hallway fight in this room. That was the coolest little jump he's doing. It's all pretty brutal, just hand-to-hand combat. The stunt coordinators and all the stuntmen in this and Charlie Cox are so good at this stuff. And then when he has to take on the basically the SWAT guys, the guys with the Kevlar and the helmets and everything, and then his confrontation with the Albanian Vic, and how he convinces this little pause in the action to talk about how Matt and him basically need to kind of work together for a second to get Fisk back in jail, and then they can have him. And then them getting Matt out of the jail through the riot that's going on. So all this whole thing now has exploded just so that Kingpin could get to Matt now that he knows he's there. And this was his moment. It also shows right away why they need to tell the feds about Fisk knowing where he's at and being, exactly where he wanted and getting it manipulated. Because like what Matt finds out, he paid that guy to stab him, or he, got a lifer to stab him, so that this would all be manipulated, that they'd have to move him somewhere. He knew where they would take him. The guy, he even let the guy go free because he manipulated that. So it shows how, deep Fisk's fingers are still and everything, whether he's in jail or not. And so this whole thing where they get Matt out of the jail and then he gets in the back of the cab and says, just drive. And this is basically where you presume the drugs take effect, and he passes out. And then he wakes up, somebody else is driving the cab, and they jump out, and it flies off a pier and sends Matt in underwater. And that's where the episode ends. And that's really, really solid stuff. That whole sequence, that whole thing with Matt, and just Charlie Cox's acting there, and just how winded and beaten up, but like unwilling to stop, is just incredible. Fisk's manipulation of everything is just great. I love Fisk talking to Dex, that whole speech that he's giving him. It just, D'Onofrio is like, okay, whenever they say the best Marvel villains, they always just include the movie guys, and I don't understand why he rarely comes up in the conversation. As this is in the MCU, Daredevil's in the MCU, so Kingpin should be considered like one of those, always in that short list of best villains. It should be Thanos, Loki, and Kingpin, the top three. Then you can have like people like Vulture because of Michael Keaton's acting, not because of the character, things like that. So D'Onofrio really needs to be given the credit that he deserves for this character. Beyond people that watch it here on Netflix and stuff. Anyway, so that's about it. If I'm missing anything, feel free to call me out on the comment section. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, all that stuff. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews saying we will see you on the next video. Take it easy. Bye.